Hey there. Welcome to our deep dive into the alcohol industry.
The alcohol industry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We've got some wild stuff for you today.
Yeah.
Legal case, market analysis, government announcements, high finance even.
Lots to cover.
So, get this.
Yeah.
A jury just awarded a distributor $12 million because of a broken deal with Jägermeister.
Wow.
But there's a twist.
Oh.
The verdict just got overturned.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah, it really highlights the power dynamics in this industry.
Right. Between those who make it and those who sell it.
Exactly. Especially in states like Missouri with those franchise laws.
Yeah, those franchise laws.
Yeah.
Those laws are designed to protect distributors.
Yeah.
From unfair practices by the bigger companies.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, Major Brands, the distributor,
Mm-hmm.
argued they had a franchise agreement with Jägermeister.
So it'd be hard to just cut them off.
Should be harder to terminate the relationship.
Right. So what happened?
Well, the court basically said, hold on.
Yeah.
The Eighth Circuit, that is.
Mm-hmm.
They took issue with how the jury was told to think about the case.
So the jury got bad instructions.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
It all boils down to community of interest, they said.
Community of interest.
Yeah. To be a franchise,
Mhm.
the distributor would need to really be in trouble if the deal ended.
Okay, so it's not enough to just claim you're a franchise.
No, not at all.
We got to prove you'd be hurt.
Yeah, real financial hardship.
Oh, I see.
And to make things even spicier, the distributor Jägermeister wanted to work with was Southern Glazers,
Southern Glazers.
the biggest alcohol distributor in the whole U.S.
Wow.
It's like David versus Goliath,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But we've talked about the distributors.
Mhm.
What about the companies making the booze?
Right.
Are they having a good time?
Well, it's complicated.
Oh, of course it is.
You see, large companies, they're dealing with these legal things,
The lawsuits and contracts, yeah.
while smaller, craft distillers, they're facing a whole different set of problems.
Like what?
Well, the Distilled Spirits Council, they basically said things are getting back to normal.
After that pandemic craziness, right?
Exactly.
People aren't buying as much anymore.
Yeah, everyone stocked up their home bars,
Right.
and now they're watching their wallets more.
Makes sense.
It's tough on the little guys.
I bet.
Consumers, they're more price conscious now.
So the cheaper stuff is selling better.
It's more than that.
Okay.
It's like
Might have
people
to-
are making choices,
Yeah.
They want good value for their money.
Makes sense.
And then there's the tariffs, those EU tariffs.
On American whiskey.
Yeah, those might come back in 2025.
That's not good.
It could really hurt U.S. exports.
Especially when sales are already going down here.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for sure.
So we've got legal battles, picky customers, and maybe tariffs on the way.
Sounds like a recipe for a headache.
It really does. But speaking of picky customers,
Yeah.
what are people into these days?
Oh, now that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
So on one hand, ready-to-drink cocktails, they're booming.
Like those canned ones.
Yeah, and then low alcohol or even no alcohol drinks, those are up too.
So it's all about convenience and, well, maybe drinking less. Well, look at Monster Beverage.
Monster.
Yeah, the energy drink company.
Right, yeah.
They're totally changing their alcohol division.
Mm.
Shutting down breweries, even.
Oh,
They're going all in on non-alcoholic stuff.
that's a bold move.
It's costing them, too.
Oh, how
Sales are down for the alcoholic drink.
And they're setting aside more money, just in case.
Inventory reserves, yeah.
It's a sign, don't you think?
Of what?
That things are changing, maybe for good.
And it's not just Monster, right?
No, I think the whole alcoholic market,
The whole thing.
it's shrinking, especially wine.
It's like a balloon slowly losing air.
A good image.
IWSR and SipSource. They're both saying the same thing.
A general contraction. And it's not just about replacing alcohol either.
What do you mean?
People are choosing it for balance,
Mindful drinking.
Yeah, it's like it complements their lifestyle.
It's not about giving up everything.
No, it's about having choices.
I like that.
So yeah, even though some parts of the traditional market are shrinking,
The oligarch.
there are all these new opportunities popping up.
It's an exciting time to be watching this industry.
It really is. And to get the full picture,
Yeah.
we need to zoom out a bit.
To the global market.
Exactly. And there's some interesting things happening, especially in China and the UK.
China, huh? Remember a few years ago, all those headlines about Chinese investors buying up vineyards in France?
Oh yeah, like they were trying to take over Bordeaux.
Right, especially Bordeaux.
Those big, bold reds.
But turns out it didn't quite go as planned.
What happened?
We're actually seeing those Chinese-owned vineyards being sold off.
Sold off.
Yeah, and for cheap.
That's surprising.
It's like the dream went sour.
What went wrong?
Well, it seems they underestimated a few things.
Like what?
The complexity of making wine.
It's not as easy as it looks.
And consumer preferences.
What do you mean?
Those heavy Bordeaux wines.
Other tannic ones.
They just don't appeal to the Chinese palate.
It's a cultural thing.
And then the Chinese economy slowed down.
Oh, that's bad timing.
The government started cracking down on lavish spending.
So no more buying up French vineyards.
Basically, yeah.
So what's happening to those vineyards now?
Some are being sold at a fraction of their original price.
Like a fire sale?
Some are just abandoned.
Really? Just left to rot?
It's sad, actually.
Like that Chateau Latour Legault?
The one that went back on the market for 150,000 euros.
That makes sense.
Absentee owners, cultural clashes, even unpaid wages.
That's awful.
It's tough all around.
It highlights the human cost of these global shifts.
It really does.
It's a reminder that we need to be more responsible, you know?
In how we invest and do business globally.
Yeah, with more understanding and respect.
So moving from France to the UK.
Across the channel.
What's happening over there?
Well, the UK hospitality industry, they're facing their own set of problems.
Like what?
Taxes, mainly.
Taxes are going up.
They are, and it's causing a lot of concern.
I bet.
UK hospitality, they're a big trade group. They've issued a warning to the chancellor.
The chancellor.
Yeah, the one in charge of the money.
Oh, right.
They're saying there will be job cuts and business closures if the taxes keep going up.
That's serious.
It is.
And it's not just the small businesses, right?
No, even the big players are worried.
Like who?
Fuller, Smith & Turner.
The brewery? And what about the consumers?
Well, those higher taxes might get passed down to them.
In the form of higher prices.
Exactly. Big retailers like Tesco and Sainsbury's, they're already considering it.
So everyone's feeling the squeeze.
It's a chain reaction.
You got a lot to take in.
It is, but it's important to see how all these pieces connect.
Legal battles, consumer trends, global events.
It's a complex system.
And it's all tied together.
Exactly. We'll dive deeper into specific areas as we go
Okay, sounds good.
and try to unpack what it all means for both consumers and the industry itself. You know, before we move on, that story about the Chinese vineyards,
In France.
yeah, it really stayed with me.
Me too.
It's such a wild example.
Of what happens when global trends meet cultural differences.
Exactly. It's a recipe for the unexpected.
But it also speaks to something bigger, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Like this whole idea of mindful consumption.
Mindful consumption.
What do you mean by that?
It's like this shift we're seeing
Okay.
where people are thinking more about what they consume and why.
It's not just about taste anymore.
No, it's about values too.
Health, sustainability, all that.
Yeah, finding a balance,
We see it with food, right?
veganism, organic, all that.
But how does that play out with alcohol?
In a few interesting ways.
Like what?
Well, look at the non-alcoholic drinks boom.
People are drinking less.
It's more than that.
Okay.
They still want the social aspect, but maybe not the alcohol itself.
They want the experience minus the hangover.
Exactly. And it's not just about avoiding the negatives.
It's about having more choices, right? Options that fit your life.
Not just for teetotalers.
No, it's for everyone.
People who want to moderate, explore different things.
Precisely. And the data supports it.
Oh, yeah. IWSR reports non-alcoholic wine volume grew 18% year-on-year in 2023.
18%, that's massive.
It is way faster than traditional wine.
Companies like Free, they're onto something.
They are. And it's not just about offering an alternative.
It's about making it good.
Yeah, sophisticated, flavorful, the whole package.
So they're going after people who might choose non-alcoholic sometimes.
Exactly. Or who want to cut back overall.
Not just people who never drink.
No, it's about expanding the market.
And it's working. Research shows many non-alcoholic wine drinkers also buy regular wine.
It's not one or the other.
It's both.
It's about having options.
So it's not a threat to the traditional industry.
Not necessarily.
It's more like an evolution.
Yeah, a broadening of the market,
And even big players are seeing that.
like Monster.
Yeah, they're restructuring, investing in non-alcoholic.
They're recognizing that the future of beverages is wider than just alcohol.
That's a big shift for an energy drink company.
It is, but it speaks volumes.
But what about the traditional market?
The old guard?
Yeah, the craft distillers, the shrinking wine market, what's next for them?
It's a mixed bag. There's this trend of premiumization,
Premiumization.
where people are willing to spend more for higher quality.
Like those $50 to $100 wines.
Exactly. It's about experience, craftsmanship.
So the cheap stuff is going away.
Not necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
There will always be a market for affordability,
Okay.
but companies need to be smart.
What do you mean?
Offer value at every price point.
Through quality, innovation, a good story.
It's not just about being the cheapest anymore.
It's about offering something unique.
And it ties back to mindful consumption.
How so?
Consumers are more discerning now.
They care about ingredients, how it's made.
The values behind the brand.
They want to feel good about what they buy.
Beyond just the taste.
That's a challenge for the whole industry.
To adapt to this more conscious consumer.
Absolutely. It's not just about alcohol.
It's a wider trend.
And speaking of trends, let's talk about investors.
The money people.
How are they reacting to all this?
It's a mix of optimism and caution.
Depending on what?
The sector, the company's strategy.
Okay, for example.
Champagne. Investors are still bullish on champagne.
Why is that?
Luxury brands like Dom Ruinart, Taittinger, they're doing really well.
People still want that high-end bubbly.
Especially those who aren't as affected by economic ups and downs.
But on the other hand, there's concern around STZ.
Corona and Modelo, right?
Yeah, the tariffs and the softening U.S. beer market.
It's creating uncertainty.
What do the analysts say?
Well, RBC points out that STZ has a history of navigating tough times.
They've been through this before.
They're focusing on productivity, tax benefits, strategic pricing.
So they're trying to stay ahead of the curve.
It's a wait-and-see situation, but they've been resilient in the past.
And the alcohol industry is cyclical, right?
Always ups and downs.
But the adaptable companies, the ones who listen to consumers, they'll thrive.
Absolutely. It's about evolution.
Speaking of which, let's talk about some other companies.
Like who?
Molson Coors. They've been struggling.
Top-line challenges, they even lowered their guidance.
They're trying to diversify, innovate, but it's tough.
It's a competitive market.
But then you have United Spirits in India. They seem to be doing well.
They're benefiting from premiumization in India.
As incomes rise, people want better drinks.
And United Spirits has a strong portfolio of premium brands.
And what about Carabao Group?
The Thai company.
Yeah, they make energy drinks and alcohol.
They're seeing strong domestic growth.
So like the Monster of Thailand.
In a way, yes, tapping into that demand for energy drinks and non-alcoholic.
And Costco, the retail giant.
They're still seeing strong sales.
Even with the hurricane and port strikes, challenges and opportunities everywhere.
The companies that are nimble, adaptable, and in tune with consumers, they're the ones to watch. It's a fascinating time to be following this industry.
So much change, so much potential.
A lot of ground covered.
It's been eye-opening.
It has so many moving parts.
So let's cut to the chase.
Okay.
What are the big takeaways here?
What should our listeners be paying attention to?
Yeah, what matters most?
Well, first off, the legal stuff, it's always changing.
Like that Jägermeister case.
Those franchise laws, they're a big deal.
Protecting the little guy from the big guy.
Trying to keep things fair.
It's a constant back and forth.
Between producers and distributors.
Yeah, each side jockeying for position.
And then, of course, the consumer.
Along with the wallet.
They're changing, too. Their tastes, their priorities.
They're not so predictable anymore.
Not at all. They're more informed, more health conscious.
They want something different.
Like those ready-to-drink cocktails.
A convenient one.
The low and non-alcoholic options.
The mindful drinker.
And those premium wines, the $50 to $100 range.
They're willing to spend, but they want quality.
It's not just about quenching thirst anymore.
And investors, they're watching all this.
Trying to figure out where to put their money.
Champagne is still hot.
The luxury market is holding strong.
But the U.S. beer market, that's a question mark.
Uncertainty around tariffs, shifting consumer tastes.
It's a mixed bag, really.
So taking all that into account,
yeah,
here's the big question.
The million-dollar question.
Will the alcohol industry go all in on premiumization?
Catering to the wealthy few.
Or will the rise of non-alcoholic drinks change everything?
Make it more diverse, more inclusive.
Two different paths.
It's like the industry is at a crossroads.
Trying to figure out which way to go.
Maybe it's not about choosing one or the other.
Maybe it's both.
The successful companies will find a balance.
Appealing to the high-end connoisseur and the health-conscious consumer.
Offering something for everyone.
It's about adaptation.
Meeting the market where it is.
That's the key.
That's a great point to wrap things up on.
The alcohol industry is changing, that's for sure.
Lots of uncertainty, but also excitement.
For what the future holds.
The lines are blurring between alcoholic and non-alcoholic.
Personalization is becoming more important.
Technology is playing a bigger role.
It's a time of great possibility.
For consumers and producers alike.
To be more curious, more creative.
To embrace the new.
And with that, we conclude our deep dive into the alcohol industry.
We hope you learned something.
That it sparked some new ideas.
Keep exploring, keep asking questions.
Make informed choices.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us, Lick.